welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming back and joining me for the Prospect League All-Star match. I'm joined by a voice that you're getting more familiar with every single stream, the one and only GM himself, Dan. How you doing, man?
Man, what an intro. I'm doing pretty good score. I'm ready for some more West versus East matchup, but this time in the prospect division.
Yeah, it should be a good one as well, I'm gonna preface this with if it ends up being a good one, I'm gonna be surprised because man, the West in this lineup is absolutely stacked.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I just feel like the West just has an edge over the East on this prospect matchup here. You got in the West, you got Rogue, you got Hydra, you have Kaysen,
Hmm.
and on the East side you have JD, the molding melon himself, Critter, and then Alpha. And I just don't see East winning this. I think it might even be a sweep. I hate to say it, but it might even be a sweep.
Yeah, like Critter on a decent team, Alpha on a decent team, JD on the 2-10 melons, not eliminated from playoffs yet, so there is a chance,
Uh,
but it's a long shot. But Rogue and Hydro coming from the Vipers lineup, looking good. Definitely a playoff contender there. And then you've got Kaysen, probably one of the best players in Prospect League. Multiple Player of the Weeks, definitely one to look out for. So Dan, what is your prediction for this one?
I have West 3-0. I hate to say it. I'm an East guy. I'm a GM of an East org, and I'm saying 3-0. And I'm in the prospect division as well, on top of that. It sucks, but I think it's going to be a sweep.
Yeah, I love JD. He's my GM. Uh, I love Alpha. He's a good guy. I don't know Critter, but I'm sure he's great. But man, this lineup from the West is certainly impressive. And sometimes, Dan, when you look at a lineup, just like, yep, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we have like, you know, on the West we have that Golden State team that won 72 games. And we're gonna see if the East can end up being the Cavs from that year as Alpha pops this one up. JD missing by a mile. Hydro on the counterattack. Critter plays this one to the sidewall. Gets the dunk out. Alpha is up. Alpha gets a nice dunk on Kaysen. Hydro gets it past JD. Critter gets dunked by Hydro as that goal came out of nowhere.
Well. Hydro trying to get the West up in the first game. Critter just tried to catch it, but Hydro just landing straight on top of him. Gets a nice dunk. That leads to 1-0 on the West.
Yeah, and I want to point out that we've got some funky cars coming out from this West squad, as all of them using some unconventional cars, but I think have similar color schemes. As JD gets a great touch to Critter, and Critter buries this one. Bounce shot, bar down. Love to see it.
Man, three-man play. It just all started out with Alpha getting the pass to JD. JD popping it up for Critter. Critter finishing off. East is back in this game 1-1. 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, and Alpha using another unconventional car, but it looks like Critter and JD are rocking the Melons cars. You love to see it. Love to see the creativity out of these teams coming into the All-Star games.
Absolutely. It's just, I mean, this is all for fun, right? At the end of the day. So it's nice to just, take a little edge off, play some Rock League, and just show off what you can do on the stream and just show why you're an all-star, even with random cars.
Yeah, and maybe the West looked at the lineups and like, we need to nerf ourselves, so we're gonna use the Jurassic Park Jeep and we're gonna use the Battle Bus. And JD gonna fly across the goal line, not able to hit the ball. Vipers Hydro gets a good clear downfield. This ball in the middle, a great shot just wide of the target. Critter pops this one. Alpha going up, gets a touch, controlling it, gets it nicely to himself, gets a nice dunk as well, and a bump on Hydro as JD plays this into the middle. Critter, hard 50 off to the side. Kaysen with control, got Alpha in a 1v1, gets it over to Critter dunks Rogue. Would have been a goal. Hydro off the backboard, but no shooter as he tried to go for a demo. Alpha can't quite get it as Critter controlling this ball. Rogue takes a shot just wide, and with just over 2 minutes, or with just over half the game left to play, Dan, both teams tied and both teams looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit closer than I originally thought. I still think West is having a little bit more pressure than the East. East is kind of getting stuck in their own zone a little bit, but East isn't done yet, especially with only game one and half the game to go.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a little surprised it's even this close. As Hydro taking a shot, JD on the goal line, not quite on target. The shot was, but Critter plays this one out. JD there, good speed from JD, turning on that ball. Gets a good pass middle. Hydro has to control it. Kaysen helps him out as Kaysen sends this one downfield. Critter gonna cut off JD. Alpha fakes out Rogue. What a great play. Alpha sends this one down to Critter. Critter with a great touch. Kaysen lands on it. JD looking to center this one. JD gets the center. Can't quite get the bump as Alpha not quite there to take the shot. And the defense from the West stays strong.
Absolutely. The West holding strong, even though the East is trying to have some sort of pressure going on. I'm seeing a little bit of whiffs here by East, but it's not coming and biting them in the butt. It's just not capitalizing on the goals and opportunities to make the game 2-1.
Yeah, and JD, even though on the 2 and 10 melons, keeping up quite nicely as Alpha pops this one downfield, looking for a center, but can't quite get it. As this ball finds its way to the middle, but no one there to shoot. Hydro popping this one out. JD keeping it in though. This ball lofted up. Critter off the sidewall. Alpha has to make the touch. He doesn't do it, and Rogue puts it on net.
How unfortunate for the East. Critter just tries to hit it off the sidewall, does not get the double. Rogue is there to capitalize on the mistake. Basically passed it towards the middle. And the West coming up 2-1 with a minute to go. I feel like they got to hold on to it now.
Yeah, they definitely have to hold on to it. You don't want to give the East a chance. And Alpha with a great save clears it out to JD, who's looking to control this one. Pops it over Hydro. Alpha can't quite beat Rogue to it. Hydro lets Kaysen have it, sends it to the backboard. Kaysen up again, looking to make something happen. Rogue takes the shot as I think everyone was watching Kaysen.
Yeah, everybody thought was Kaysen was going to get the touch, but unfortunately just whiffs. You can act like it was a fake of some sort. Rogue just there to read the bounce on the ground. Nobody expecting it from the East team, and West starting to run away with game one.
Yeah, 2 goals, 45 seconds left. It's not impossible, but it's definitely going to be difficult as this ball lofted up. Hydro gets dunked out. Critter looking to follow it, but doesn't have any boost. Gets a nice dunk across. Alpha keeping it in, looking to get a pass middle. It goes middle. JD catches it, gets it, flicks it past two. Critter can't quite get the dunk over Kaysen. That would have given the East a great opportunity, but Alpha sends this one down. Rogue plays it back in. Critter pops it middle, but Kaysen keeps it in. JD there. JD pushing it himself. 2 seconds left. Can he get this goal? And he does, but it's just too little, too late.
JD just trying to get some momentum for next game here as East falls to game one, but a little bit closer than we thought it was originally going to be, Squirrel. And I think East has a little bit of life still in them, and I feel like it's anybody's game still, especially for All Stars.
Yeah, it was much closer than I originally thought. Critter being a big reason for that out of the East. 1 goal, 3 saves. Kind of doing everything. The only one to make a defensive stop on the East. But from the West, Kaysen, the only one to make defensive plays for the West.
Yeah, and it goes to show, hey, you might have an opportunity. If Kaysen's the only one putting saves up, you have an opportunity to capitalize more. I definitely do think East had plenty of opportunities to even win this game. But unfortunately, they just didn't get the correct touches, and at the end of the day, you lose the game for it, and that's just easy mistakes that you need to make. Just make and correct to fix it, and just try to get the game win.
Yeah, I agree. Is both teams have the same number of shots. Definitely surprising considering how high powered the offense is out of the West, but the East keeping up quite nicely. And that's one of the things about these All-Star games, Dan, is you never know like what's going to happen when you put the best of the best together.
Right. It could be chemistry issues as well. Maybe you have all three monkeys on the ball for a team, or you all have third man. It's just these teams haven't played with each other. They come from their respective teams and their divisions, but at the end of the day, you gotta look out for chemistry as well and see what works and see what doesn't work.
Yeah, that raises a very interesting question, Dan. Would you rather have all monkeys or all third mans?
I I think monkeys might work a little bit more, especially in the prospect league. Uh, the third man, you just play a little bit too passive, and I just feel like you can let the enemy team just stomp on you, even with the correct rotation, because they don't need the monkey. But if you monkey on the ball, you just give them less opportunities to even hit the ball and have possession of it. And monkeys are overpowered in this game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. As JD takes a shot and Kaysen sends it away, a demo coming out as JD doing what JD does best, looking for demos on the goal line. Critter sends this one down. Kaysen, a good touch past Critter. Alpha plays it to the corner. Alpha looking to center that one, but Rogue dunks him out. JD, not the best touch, as Kaysen gonna have a touch downfield, but Critter sends this one down to Rogue. Rogue with a good touch and a good pop, looking for a little air dribble, but Alpha cuts him off. And Dan, we're seeing some really good mechanics out of these prospect teams.
Yeah, and have a little bit of a freestyle type a little bit, showing what they got. Maybe pull something out of the bag here at the All Star game. And maybe a little bit of a flex, especially on stream. But hey, trying to find something new, find something spicy because these people they've seen all different kinds of tricks, especially in league play. So they have to change something up.
Yes, Hydro just taking an absolute rocket of a shot into the left side of the net. A great shot to put his team up 1-0.
Alpha is trying to put it to the corner, but unfortunately it bounces out, and Hydra reads it. Nobody's really there to block it for the East, and unfortunately West is taking game two right now.
Yeah, a great shot. I think it was like 68 or 70 miles per hour into the net. That was going to be hard to save no matter who it was. JD takes a little shot. Hydro coming off of what looked like a squishy save, sends it out, but Critter plays it back. Rogue can't quite get there, but following up himself gets a nice dunk onto Alpha. Hydro popping this one. Rogue continuing it downfield. Critter makes the stop on the goal line. Good transition offense from the West, but a great save by the East as Hydro looking to control it. And Dan, one thing I've really noticed is it seems like the West is just so good about making these touches and then following it up themselves.
Yeah, I agree, and I think West has a little bit of an edge as well. You got Hydro and you got Rogue. Both come from the Vipers, so you already have a little bit of team chemistry and team bonding in that, and that just helps in every single category. And East doesn't really have that. They're from different teams, so they're trying to do something to just capitalize on anything they can.
Yeah, and I think that was Hydra that made a great save, stopping JD from putting the ball in the net, and Rogue clearing it out. Alpha pops this one up high. JD can't quite get there as Kaysen showing off his speed. Alpha pops this one over, gets this one up. JD going for it. JD takes a shot, but Kaysen there to send it away and beats two defenders with that touch as Rogue can't quite shoot it. Critter looking to send this one out, gets it up. Hydro playing patiently though, as Critter gets one demo. JD can't quite make the touch as Kaysen relieves all of that pressure, but Alpha playing this one back down, and the East this game just not getting the same shooting opportunities as they did last game, Dan.
No, and I just feel like they have to open up an opportunity. As here's an opportunity right here. Oh my goodness, nobody's home for the West, and
Yep.
even it up 1-1 with 50 seconds to go.
Yeah, just the defensive rotations fell apart. No one there to cover as the last man got beat. So an easy open net for Critter as he ties this one up. And with 45 seconds left, we might be seeing an overtime.
Yeah, we might, maybe. It just depends how much pressure East puts on the net as JD comes in, cleanup crew, and puts East on top with 39 to go.
Yeah, Alpha
Whew.
with a big hit to the backboard. Critter keeping it in, and JD right place at the right time. Like you said, clean up crew gives them the go-ahead goal in this game.
Absolutely, and I felt like before they scored both these goals. I mean, I know it's a little bit of a meme that some people do know, but Rogue gets demoed a lot in league play, and that might be some mental game. Even if you want to try to win one of these games, if you're East, maybe get in their heads a little bit, pull out a demo or two, and see what you can do with it. Run away with it.
Oh, and a shot just off the inside of the goal, and this ball pitched.
Oh,
Oh, just a little high. That would have been an absolute amazing play from Alpha and Critter. But I agree with you. It seems like these opportunities have been opened up by the demos that the East is getting. And Kaysen showing off his ability to air dribble, but Critter stand up defense there. JD kills it to tie the
oh, are we losing Squirrel?
back.
Welcome back, Squirrel.
Thank you, thank you. But man, what a great game as the East and the West both put up good numbers, just barely edging that one out.
Yeah, East coming up on top. Have one more shot than the West, but I felt like the demos did help out for the East a little bit. And maybe if you might want to implement that a little bit more, play some mental mind games and get on top of the series, turn it around, try to get a gentleman's sweep. I mean, hey, maybe that was their plan all along. Prove everybody wrong, show the East is the best because we are the best. And now I just got to prove it.
Yeah, the East hasn't been doing too hot in recent All-Star showings, so hopefully, they can take this the Prospect League and tie this one up 1-1. Because I would hate to see the East lose on the day, but we'll get right into this action as Hydro wins the kickoff, but Critter, smart touch to his own corner, beats one, can't quite get it past one as Alpha or JD looking to take a shot. JD passes that one middle. This ball's over Alpha. Rogue racing to it, but Critter patiently waiting on his own side and gets a good dunk out. As Critter following this one up. Gets a nice touch. Kaysen off the backboard. Rogue already beating him to it. Wow, the speed from this man. Hydro playing this one in, but it's just wide. And that's another thing I've noticed from the West, Dan, is like sometimes their shots just go wide.
Yeah, they're not accurate shots, and that's not going to win you games. You have to put the shots at least on net. Make them make a save, put pressure on, and just continue keeping that pressure on. And that's going to be one of the keys to winning. That's the key to win any Rocket League game. But you have to do something, and you have to put it on net in order to score goals and win the game.
I kind of get scared for this team every time Kaysen is up with the ball. The man has looked scary with his mechanics and his ability to just air dribble the ball. And Dan, that's not really something you see a whole lot out of the prospect league.
No, in Prospect League, you see a couple ceiling shots here and there. Not too mechanically gifted, but Kaysen just proving himself and proving to everybody else in Prospect, hey, I'm one of the top dogs. That's why I should be an all-star. And he's
Yeah.
showing it here today.
Now, have you played against Kaysen yet this season?
I play him on Monday.
Okay, so doing a little scouting, definitely hope it doesn't make you too nervous. As the man has shown some incredible skill here. JD keeping this one in. JD with the Melon Dominus, showing off his love for his team and a great fake by Kaysen. So one thing I've noticed, Dan, is you've got to be worried when he hits the ball, and you've got to be ready for when he decides not to.
Absolutely. And I just feel like at the end of the day, teamwork, like Alpha and JD there, will always come superior to one-man play.
Yeah, I agree. And Alpha playing this one across JD in the right spot to make that shot happen. A great play out of the molding melon himself. And That's one thing I like to see, Dan, is I like to see them play the ball in instead of playing it just always to the backboard.
Yeah, sometimes the infield passes they're pretty good. They work legends sometimes because at prospect rank you expect people to hit the backboard a lot, even if you have an open net, like Hydro just missed. But at the prospect rank, it's a little bit different. You're starting to get up there in higher ranks. This is about C2, C3 area, and you just got to be more aware of that. And you see a little bit more mechanically gifted people up in these higher ranks.
Yeah, and Hydro wishing he could have that open net back. Is that one gonna come back to haunt them, especially if they can't tie this one up? As JD with a great touch and a big dunk from Kaysen. Alpha back far enough to make the nice safe touch. This ball gets sent out wide. JD looking for the clear, gets a little touch on it. Critter with the dunk towards the wall, but Rogue with a good job keeping it in. Hydro with the dribble. This ball sent out wide. And, Hydro with the dribble there. That's one thing that we haven't really seen a whole lot from either of these teams, Dan, is people slowing it down and controlling the ball.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of boom ball today, and I mean, yeah, that could work. But hey, slowing down the pace could lead to your advantage because you never know what will happen if you slow down the play just a little bit. As Kaysen slows the ball down a little bit, gets a little flick, but a little bit help from JD there. Hydro's just there to back up his teammate. And West come back. They get 1-1 with a minute 30 to go. Squirrel.
Yeah, they demoed the wrong man. They demoed Rogue there, which might tilt him, but man, they should have been on top of Hydro as Hydro buries that shot. A great play. And JD taking the shot just off the crossbar. Critter coming from the other end puts this one in to take the lead once again.
JD unfortunately misses the net, but he gets the bump on Kaysen. The ball goes back in front of the net. Critter, the cleanup crew for the East team, is crazy this series, Squirrel, and they're just cleaning up, and that's all they got to do, and they're on top 2-1.
Yeah, it's not very often where you have to be worried about a guy driving off your own backboard and then putting the shot in, but Critter finds himself in the right place at the right time, and a demo comes out. Hydro takes the shot, and Critter can't quite get up to make the save.
Critter unable to get the touch. I don't think he was ready for this angle by Hydro. Hydro getting above Critter. And unfortunately for the East, they blew their lead once again. They got a minute to go.
Yeah, just a great angle from Hydro. Like, came out of nowhere. Critter up, Critter off the kickoff, buries this one, puts it on target, and we're seeing the speed from this man.
Alpha getting a nice 50 here for the kickoff. Critter making himself a little bit known now. Yeah, he just messed up, but he just got back with his team. He said, hey guys, my bad. I got you covered though. He scores the goal. And East back on top with a minute to go.
And it looks like another kickoff might happen, but JD's shot gets saved by Hydro. And I was going to say, Dan, it's not every day that you see someone outspeed Kaysen as JD misses this ball and Rogue ties this one up.
Ah, yes, the molding melon JD gets an unfortunate whiff there. Rogue's just there to tap it into the net. And West trying to say, hey, we're still in this, and we're the superior team here in the All-Star game.
That's our closest series so far, as tied 1-1, and then this game tied 3-3. Critter looking to make a play, but Rogue stops him in his tracks, follows it up himself, but no one from his team there to shoot as Hydro gets a great dunk. Kaysen up. Kaysen didn't quite read that one as he pops it backwards, giving some pressure to this team. Alpha looking to freestyle a little bit. I don't think he got the flip. JD keeping this one in. Alpha leaving that one for Critter. Critter doesn't quite get the touch he wanted. Rogue with a good dunk out into the midfield. This ball popped up. This ball gonna fall to the middle. Critter up. Critter can't quite get the touch, but he fakes out Rogue. JD plays this one to safety, and this one gonna hit the ground. And Dan, we have overtime.
Wow, I believe it's our first overtime here in the prospect division. And East showing that they got some life. We didn't think they would have any life coming into the series, but they're proving us wrong for sure as they're taking West overtime here, and they took a game off already. So it's something you got to watch out for the rest of the East. Do they have the momentum, or do you think West is just playing with their food?
I definitely think they have the momentum here because when you're playing with your food, you don't let it get this close. As uh, we see in overtime, both teams already getting some offense going. And earlier there was a beautiful pass play that didn't quite make it in. When I would have loved to have seen that one scored. As about a minute into overtime here, and both teams just kind of back and forward. Neither team wanting to make that mistake.
Now you want to play a little bit more passively in OT because one goal and you're done. Now that doesn't mean you can't kill your rotation, but you definitely have to play a little bit more passive until you absolutely need to play aggressive in this overtime.
Yeah, you gotta wait for that right moment to strike, and with two people missing, this might be it. But Critter clears this one out. Kaysen sends this one to his own corner. Alpha takes the midfield boost, plays this one in. This ball is up. JD gets caught in a bad spot going for that, but Critter keeps them in. Gets a good demo on Rogue. Alpha can't quite make the touch to send that one middle, and that's going to give the pressure back to the west as Kaysen looking to dribble that one out. Doesn't quite make it happen. Demo doesn't come out on Hydro, but Rogue looking to play this one downfield. He gets a good touch, following it up himself, gets a good bump to the corner, and Alpha sends this one to midfield. And neither team able to quite get the edge in the series. So Dan, what do you think one of these teams needs to do to just get a little bit of an advantage here?
I said this a little bit earlier, but maybe pull out a demo play of some sort. Mess up the rotation a little bit, get in their heads. And that might be a key to success here, especially because everybody's playing a little bit passive. Make them a little bit on their back foot. Make them scared a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's nothing more frustrating than when you're rotating well and then boom, that demo comes out and just messes up everything as JD gets a mistouch, sends this one backwards. Rogue plays this one on net. Alpha in an awkward spot. Alpha
Woo!
with the save coming up clutch with 2.5 minutes of overtime already played, a game and a half, and Alpha is still got it in him, Dan.
Alpha almost owned goal, but luckily he could save it. And a little bit of a close call there, but hey, we're still in OT.
And Alpha called upon again to make another great save. Kaysen showing off some mechanics, passes this one middle. JD 50s this one out, but Viper's Hydro is there. But a little lull in the action. And Dan, how has the West not scored?
East is bearing down, and I feel like the all-star for this game, especially, is Alpha on the defensive end. He's just been a brick wall, and you might have to pull out a demo play to get that brick wall broken and to see what will happen.
Yeah, you take Alpha out of the field, and either one of those shots would have gone in to seal the deal. And Alpha
Woo!
on the offense. Oh my God, with the doink, doing everything.
Alpha getting a nice read, gets a little bit of tap over at Kaysen, and unfortunately for the West, they're on their back foot now. And East showing what they can do and saying, hey, guess what? We're all stars too, and we got your number covered for the third game.
Oh my God. There's not a whole lot of times where I'm watching Rocket League and a goal just kind of comes out of nowhere, but Alpha, doing what he needed to do on defense and then making the shot to seal the deal out of nowhere with a great doink. No one from the West was ready for that one.
No, nobody thought Alpha was going to get the slight touch, and they thought they were going to get a nice, easy clear, keep the OT going. But Alpha said, I'm done with this game three. Get me out of here. I want to go for the gentleman's sweep because East, they're trying to do that as they've won games 2 and 3 and now looking for 4.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the East, you have all the momentum going into this one as they're playing great. And not to say the West isn't. The West is still playing phenomenal. They're making saves, they're putting good shots on net and in the back of the net. But the East seems like they just want it a little bit more.
Yeah, East, they knew they were the underdogs coming into this, and they want to show underdogs can still win, even though, hey, you're still an all-star. It doesn't matter if you're an underdog or not. You got Rock League to play, and anything can happen.
Yeah, and both teams already starting those demos early as Critter got demoed and then Hydro gets demoed. So we'll see the aggressiveness come out of this one as the West not wanting to go home early. Rogue pops this one down. JD with a big dunk out, but Critter can't quite read it as they're going to double commit for this one. Alpha playing it back in, but Kaysen there to finally clear this one out. So Kaysen passes this one off the backboard. Rogue, bad touch to the wrong direction. JD, no boost. Hopefully he calmed that so Critter could be ready for it. This ball popped up. Alpha getting a good 50 on the double commit there. JD can't quite make the touch. Critter sends this one to across, and with just over a minute of game time gone, what are your thoughts on game 4 so far?
I've seen a lot of double commits happen for both sides, but I think the West has a little bit more double commits. And speaking of just the West, hey, what a passing play by Hydro. Hydro getting it to the midfield. Rogue reading it before Alpha and getting it on the top 90. And West saying, hey, we're not out of this series yet.
Yeah, that was a great pass and good chemistry there as he finds Rogue in the middle and Rogue showing off his speed. JD coming off the stealing, not quite sure about that one, Chief, as Kaysen saves Alpha's shot. Critter passes this one middle, but JD smart to not go for that one as he doesn't want to overcommit. Hydro, good touch. This one sent down to Critter. Critter pops it up to himself and going for it. Gets a touch middle. Is he going for the double? He doesn't quite get it, and no one there to shoot the follow up as Alpha is back with no boost. And it seems like, Dan, this has been a much more controlled game from the West.
Yeah, it seems like the West, they've slowed it down a lot. And East is just trying to capitalize on anything they can, but they can't because West having control of the ball. And speaking of the West, they almost got a shot there, but I feel like the West has their numbers, you know, handled. And you got to figure out, hey, how slow do we need to play? Do we need to play faster, slower? But for now, looks like slower is working for the West. And hey, keep going. What's working?
Yeah, and I think the West might have been listening to you in that last game because they are bringing out some demos this game. There's been like 3 or 4 clutch demos already that have relieved a lot of pressure. Alpha with a mistouch, but JD with the pure speed. Critter sending this one down, but Rogue waiting in goal. JD pops this one over. Hydro has to make the touch, and he does. Alpha off the backboard. Critter sends it back to the backboard, and they're just pounding the backboard right now as JD sends this one to the corner. JD kind of beats Alpha on that touch. Not what you want to see there as this ball goes up. JD, a nice touch and a nice follow up as it is a 2-on-1, but Kaysen makes the touch. Rogue pops this one out, and Kaysen beats the defender. And this is just great play, offense and defense from the West as Rogue connects on the pass from Kaysen.
Kaysen getting a nice touch off the sidewall, getting it past one defender. Then he sends it towards the midfield as Rogue's on the other side with a nice passing play. And West starting to climb away from this game 4.
Yeah, Kaysen did everything except shoot the ball there as he beats all the defenders and makes a great pass to Rogue. And the West just looking dominant this game. The East not knowing what to do as this shot comes out from Kaysen and he finds the goal.
I don't think East was ready for this offensive pressure right off kickoff. Kaysen gets a nice little touch and angle on this shot here. Wow, what an angle by Kaysen, and the West starting to run away with this game 4, and the East, they need to do something now in order to stay in this game 4.
Yeah, they got to score and they got to score now because a minute and a half, 3 goals, not impossible, but very difficult as Kaysen going to stop the threat that was that shot. Alpha plays it up. JD is already up. JD had the shot on net, but Hydro comes up with a clutch save. Man, JD gets talked down a lot, but the man has come to play, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, so people maybe not like JD for whatever reasons, but you can show that he has some skill and he has something to back it up. And JD's just trying to prove why he's an all-star, even on a 2-10 Melons team.
Yeah, I mean, When you're good, you're good, and when you're an all-star, you can blame it on your teammates. As JD doing pretty good in this game. Critter pops it to the middle. Kaysen to the corner. JD has to make a touch. Passes it middle. Rogue cuts off Hydro as what could have been an opportunity ends in nothing as Alpha low boost play can't quite make anything of it as Kaysen gonna get it past Critter. JD has to make a touch. He doesn't. He gets caught backwards and Hydro buries it off the mispositioning from JD.
JD just not able to read the bounce off the corner, puts himself in an awkward spot, and West have basically secured game 4 at this point with only 14 seconds to go. And hey, who said this wasn't scripted, huh? Game 5, especially in the All-Star game.
Yeah, love it for the content. Always love to see a game 5, and you know the momentum has swung heavily in the West favor as that is the biggest blowout we've seen this whole series.
Absolutely. West showing why they were the favorites coming into this, but now it's all down to one game. It's do or do not, especially with this game. You gotta either do, get the win, or goodbye and say don't get the win. But it's anybody's game. Both teams have showed promising things, but some teams showed that they don't got it. And I feel like this next game is going to determine what's going to happen, especially because it's game 5. And I just feel like whoever has more possession and control in the first 2 minutes of this next game is going to end up winning, Squirrel.
Yeah, I agree. And JD said he threw for content, but I don't know how true that is considering the West doubled the shots that the East had. Just an absolute offensive clinic from them. And like I think earlier in the series you said this was going to be a shootout, but man, it certainly has turned into that as both teams putting up a great showing on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and hey, we're here at game 5. Let's see what happens, Squirrel. I have a good feeling we're going to have a really good and close game here.
I would love to see a Game 5 OT as Alpha pops this one out. Rogue with a good little dribble there to beat Alpha. Critter plays this one down, steals a boost while he's at it. Kaysen in the corner, gets it past JD, gets a nice 50 on Alpha. Critter with the little wave dash to help himself get back. Gets a boost and a bump. Slowing this one down, flips it over one. Hydro sends that one away from danger. But Alpha with a great touch, looking to bump someone on the goal line. No one from his team there to shoot. Could have been an opportunity there, but they kind of just let that one go as Kaysen sends this one downfield. And Dan, I'm gonna have to ask you, with just a minute gone by in game 1, what's your prediction here for this game 5?
I got the upset. I think East might pull this off. I said 3-0 for the West, but I honestly think we're going to see an upset here as East might take one home for the Eastern Division.
Yeah, is JD already up? JD with the shot and Kaysen a brick wall on the goal line. Kaysen going for the shot, but it gets sent away. Hydra or Rogue showing off some of those mechanics, but Critter sends this one away. And Dan, I might have to agree with you. If the East keeps playing like they've been playing, they might get the upset.
Absolutely. I feel like they've had a little bit more control of the ball. Yeah, the West has have more pressure, but I think overall the East has just had a little bit more control of the ball. And I said whoever had more control of the ball is going to win this game. So let's see if my prediction's right.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you make a great point there is the East playing a much better game so far than they did last game, and Rogue trying to put the go-ahead goal in but can't quite get there as Critter sends this one to Alpha. Alpha can't quite make the touch as that would have been a beautiful infield pass. JD gets bumped by Alpha, can't quite make the touch, so Rogue had the opportunity but that gets sent away. JD with a good dunk. Can't quite get the past middle though, as Kaysen is just too good. Alpha sends this one downfield. Alpha waiting on Hydro's touch. Gets a dunk to the middle. Critter smart to back off of that one. controlling this one to the wall, pops it up, going for it off the ceiling. And Dan, we are seeing some crazy mechanics out of these two teams.
Yeah, they're trying to find something, especially to break up this game five here. It's tied up with 2 minutes to go, and hey, maybe you might have a nice clip opportunity and trying to pull something out of the bag for game five.
Yeah, Critter making an absolute goal line stand there, saving that shot. Would have given the West the lead in this last game of the series. If this ball goes wide, Hydro not fast enough. Rogue sending this one back in off the backboard, misreads the angle on that one. Hydro up. JD gets a good 50. Critter dropping this one. Questionable touch there, but Alpha bails him out. Alpha plays this one to the middle. Rogue takes the shot just wide. JD takes a boost. Someone's got to go for it. JD plays it. A good ball out. Going to relieve some pressure as Alpha plays this one up. JD got a demo on the back end. Is that going to open anything up as this ball bounced into the middle? Critter lasts back for a while, but Rogue gives that one away. And Dan, we saw that demo open up a lot of pressure. Maybe they'll go back to those.
Absolutely. With a minute to go, you got to be very careful what you do because one goal can mean the life or death of this game five. And it can mess up rotations and it can just ruin everybody's day here, especially with an all star game five.
Now, Dan, you know that we will never hear the end of it if JD scores the game winner. So
Uh,
uh, we're both hoping that doesn't happen, but it's looking likely as Critter plays that one out, pushing this one middle, gets a nice touch, almost got the double, but a double demo coming out to stop the offense in its track. It looked like JD was going for a demo again. Alpha pops this one up. Hydro sending this one down. Critter popping it up to himself, following it up, beats Rogue. JD looking to make something happen, can't quite get there. Alpha has a chance. Alpha, terrible shot. JD there, saved away by Kaysen. Critter looking to keep it in. Alpha applying the pressure. This ball is up. JD, last one, last chance. This ball bouncing towards the goal, and Hydro
oh,
clears it away. And Dan, we've got it. The Game 5 OT.
I couldn't have wrote it better myself. Game five, OT, the all star game in prospect. Man, oh man, what a series this has been. Possibly an upset still to come, but hey, all stars are showing what they got here, Squirrel.
Regardless of what happens, both teams gonna be happy that they both came to play a good series. This ball, JD saves it off the backboard. Awkward, but it worked. Alpha plays this one back middle. Kaysen with the touch. Kaysen following it up himself into the corner. JD with a good clear to relieve a lot of pressure. Now the East on offense. Alpha with the ball plays it off the wall to himself. Critter up. Critter playing this one to the wall. Kaysen can't quite make the touch. JD sends this one to the middle, but no one there to shoot as Rogue sends this one out. And with a minute gone in OT, has your prediction changed, or do you still think the East is going to take this one?
I still have East. They have a lot of pressure going on. As a floater, it comes back and almost capitalizes. Oh my goodness. But I still have East. I'm part of the Flurry team, and we're in the East, so even though I said 3-0 for the West, at the end of the day, in my heart, I like the East on this one.
Yeah, and the East has had some opportunities, and
Uh,
JD doesn't go for it. Rogue coming off the back post puts it in. JD never saw him. JD not quite quick enough, and Rogue puts in the game winner. A minute and a half OT, and that's how it ends. The West take this one 3-2.
my oh my, what a series. Almost the story of the century. The East underdogs for ages. Almost getting the game five, but unfortunately, West running away with the OT here, and West has another season win here for the Prospect League, and we'll see what happens on the upcoming All Star games here, Squirrel.
Yeah, and both teams very evenly matched. Same saves, only one shot difference for the West, and it was that last one that sealed the deal. So hopefully, Dan will see all the games end in a similar fashion. But thank you for casting with me. It was a pleasure. Are we casting the next one too?
I am casting the next one. I'm not sure
I'm
if you're
I'm
gonna be in the
casting the
booth with
next one
me.
too.
Oh, I'm
So
oh.
I look forward to seeing you shortly as we're about to take a short little break and then head into the next game. Thank you everyone for joining us. Hopefully you will come back as we head into the Challenger League for some more all-star action. We'll be seeing you.